Well, howdy everyone. Welcome. It's GroBucket SIP project of mine. And as Mr. Rogers would say, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It is warm and sunny today finally. The weather has started to settle and the plants are growing. I've got 2 pepper plants here, a red one, a green one, and a bush tomato. And I just filled the sips up 3 days ago, and I went down here and they need to be filled again. So that's about all they can go in this climate. We've had a mix of weather. July has just not been settled, and it's actually one of the wettest Julys we've had on record. So we've had a lot of days where it's cloudy and then it clears up in the afternoon and gets sunny. We've had 1 or 2 warm days this past week, and today is supposed to be another one. We're supposed to hit 80 today and tomorrow, and then they say it's going to get a little bit cloudy and cool down a bit, and then it's supposed to come back to more normal, whatever normal is here for Western Washington. I don't really know exactly what to expect here because I've never really grown in this location. I've had gardens further up the valley, and because it has less maritime influence, things finish a week or 2 earlier. But here, I am still not certain what's going to happen. I see flowers, but I really don't see much in the way of tomatoes on this plant. The peppers, I'm starting to see a few. And a few on here. But I think, I don't know, but this is supposed to be a red one, and I'm not sure it'll ever get red here or not. Maybe it will. If it's green, that's fine. I like green peppers. The tomato, it's real stocky, and it's healthy, and it's drinking a lot, but it's just not tomato country here. We just don't get the heat, and then we get cold nights. We're relatively cold. For people that are back east, you're used to having a hard time sleeping. Here you need a blanket. It usually gets down into the 50s, mid-50s this time of year, and that makes plants take longer to mature. So all in all, everything is doing well in here. I wasn't sure how long they'd go without water, but it looks like 3 days is about it, and maybe less if it gets really warm, which it could do. We've been kind of a cool, moist July, but we have had hotter weather in the past, and so anything can happen here. That's the one thing. If you don't like the weather here, you wait 5 minutes, it'll change. So we've got that going on. And over here, we've got this is actually a SIP, and it's got carnivorous plants in it. I don't fertilize them. They eat bugs. They don't need to be fertilized. They do need to stay wet. So this is kind of a modified SIP. It has a water level in it that is just below the surface, because these plants normally grow in peat bogs, and they need to stay wet or they die. And this one here, basically the same. Looks like I got a plant growing out my drain hole. These are new. I just put these in. So we'll see. And I've got a couple of little Roma tomatoes here. And this one's got tomatoes on it. So I'm pretty sure those will ripen. And I don't really see any on this one. And I think I saw some on one of the other ones, yeah, this one here has a few. And you get what you get, I guess. Other than that, these Romas are always early, and they always seem to do well here, no matter where you're at. So, and something really ate the crap out of my peppers. I've been trying to catch it. I just don't want to go out and buy slug bait or anything like that. But there are definitely some snails here that have done damage on these other little pepper plants. So overall, been a pretty decent week, and I am liking the GroBuckets. I have found they're not that hard to fill. I didn't need a funnel. I just took out the fill level indicator here, and I was able to just from a bucket pour water down the hole till it started coming out the drain hole. And then when I drop it in there now, I can tell there's a little bit of water in there, but not very much. So it definitely needs to all get filled up again. And I suppose you could do it with a hose, but I tend to want to feed them every watering. Cocoa is what is in these things, and it's kind of a strange animal. It needs to be fed, it needs to be kept moist. And it's not really good to water it without nutrients, even if it's only a very light feeding, because it messes up the way it transfers nutrients to the plants. It just washes it out, and it's got to start rebuilding all over again. So you don't really ever want to just add water to cocoa. I do recommend cocoa as a grow media. It's better than the peat-based soils. It holds more moisture, it holds more air, and you just have to work with it. It's got a few quirks in that it likes to hold on to some things more than others, and that's why you want to make sure there's always some feed in there when you water it, because you don't want to leach out the calcium and the magnesium, and it will also hold a lot of potassium, and sometimes more than it should. So you want to make sure there's some calcium, magnesium going in it, and the other nutrients, and always feed when you water. You don't do water, feed with cocoa. You do feed, feed, feed. And you don't have to do a lot, but you should do some. So that concludes this week. I think I will be back, and I'll continue to update. And till then, take care of yourselves, happy gardening, and stay green.